Hi, this is Dr. Lovengar from the EL department. Today I'm going to talk to you about this KELPA Screener and get you prepared to offer it to your newcomer and new students. Our agenda is we're going to first talk about a little introduction about what it's for and the purpose of the KELPA Screener, the technology you need, how to administer the test, how to score the test, the reports you receive, and then some concluding remarks. Part 1, Introduction. Okay, so the purpose of the KELPA Screener is just to establish whether the student is proficient in English or not proficient. If they're proficient, they don't need ESOL services. If they're not proficient, they do. So the people we're testing is anyone whose home language survey is something other than English, and also that they are new to the school district. If they're coming from another school in Kansas, they do not need the screener and don't need to be screened again. Here's the test design. First, everything aligns with Kansas EL standards. It's a fixed form. It has 3 sections of mixed domains. These are the domains: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. It also has a non-scored practice session, and it also has a pre-screener. It's important to note that the test itself is on time. Students have as much time as they need. There's different bands, so there's one for kindergartners, first graders, second and third, fourth and fifth, middle school, and high school. So again, proficient means do not qualify for services. Not proficient means they do qualify for services. All the materials I'm going to go through with you, for the most part, are here on the Kansas Assessment Program. So it's ksassessments.org, and in here you can go to Resources, Assessment, KELPA Screener. So this is the manual that you'll need to follow, and if you're a person that likes to do that, definitely print that and you can read it. This is the PowerPoint that I'm working from. I couldn't get this to work. This was some previous training that they had done. Inside of the educator portal on Kite in the Help tab, there's also the rubrics for the screener and also directions for Section 3. There's a kindergarten writing book in there, as well as first grade writing book, and then other screener rating training materials. Again, you can download from KS Assessments the administrative guide and the manual. So what domains are assessed? So there's a practice session that is just for them to get used to working through the test. Then session 1 has listening and reading. They'll take that. If they don't pass or don't do well, it'll say thank you for taking the test. If they do well, it'll move to the second test or second section, and it has another part which is writing. But this writing is usually, it's really just grammar. So it's computer scored. So these first 2, there's no human scoring. On the third, if they pass both of those, then they go to a third one. And in that one, they have 5 speaking prompts and 1 writing prompt. And those will have to be scored by a EL teacher. In order to register students, you'll go to the educator portal, settings, students, screener students, add students. And you have to put the first name, last name, local school ID, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more, and then district grade and educator ID. So all of that go in here. For this middle part, the local screener identifier, most times if the student's brand new to the district and to the state, they won't have a local student identifier because they're just enrolling. So in this line, we put the student's birth date. Let me show you where that is in I'm sorry. We'll go on to the next thing. This is important. Who can administer the test and who can score the test? First, any licensed, well, first you must take the same required training as the KELPA summative, which is the security and ethics training. If you haven't had security and ethics training, you'll need to have that done. You'll find that information in the KELPA examiner's manual. And then as far as scoring it, it has to be scored by a licensed educator. And in 501, we have been having EL teachers score it, although any licensed educator could score it. Proctors cannot be the administrators, but they can proctor the assessment. In other words, a certified teacher would get it started and go through the scripts with them, but once they begin, paras may proctor the rest of it. They also cannot score it. So before the students start, there's a practice session. The KELPA is a brief practice session that must be completed. It's not scored. It just gives them an idea of the format and procedures to respond to different types of questions. Part 2 is technology. So the way that it works, most times we put students on a Chromebook. We go down to the corner, we click on it, and we open the KITE student portal. And then in order to register them, we use the KITE educator portal, which is this one. And that's where you would set up their records. So any educator administers or scores the KELPA Screener must have a KITE educator portal account. The account must be tied to KELPA, not just CAPS. So if you haven't given the KELPA before, you can let me know, or you can let Mark Saylor know, so we can add KELPA. And you can't register students until you've done that. These are the directions for part 3, the KELPA Screener. So they've done the first one and the second one, and they've been asked to go on to the third one. This is where they'll do the 5 speaking prompts and the 1 writing prompt for middle school and high school. And I think for kindergarten it's a little bit different. All of the rubrics, the scripts to read to the students are found inside of the KITE educator portal. They're secure documents, which means they have to be returned or destroyed. So they go back to your building test coordinator, where they're kept under lock and key, or they're shredded. So the rubrics for the KELPA and KELPA Screener are actually the same. And it's inside that help tab within the KITE educator portal, and it's based by grades. There's some training that'll have to take place. Again, if they're EL teachers, they will if they've been EL teachers in the past, they will have already had that training. So if you just let us know, we'll get them scored. Part 3, so usernames and passwords. Students must have username and password. So once you register them, you'll get a test ticket with that information on it. And where you find them is in the educator portal under manage test, test coordination, search test session, and then it'll ask you what school they're at, those sorts of thing. And you can get all the exact details from the screener manual. In order to have the test, we need to be in a quiet place, and we don't want anything on the boards or that would help them for the test. Dictionaries, translation, word lists, those sorts of things are not allowed on the KELPA Screener. Other things that you'll need for the test are those. If they get to session 3, you'll need those secure documents, which are the rubrics and the scripts. Students also need pencil and paper to take notes. And very important that they have headphones to do the listening, and then the headphones should have a microphone so they can do the practice part of the session 3. So the student will log into the KITE student portal. Again, most of our students have Chromebooks, so they'll log out, click on the bottom little circle, and you'll see KITE student portal in there. Once they've done that, it blocks them from getting on any other sites. The practice test is not scored, and so you can help them with it. So before they can take the test, they now have what they call a pre-screener. So you'll select settings from the navigation and go to rosters, screen rosters, select roster, and then select the student, and select KELPA Screener Evaluation, which is this button down here. When you do that, you're to ask them. The teacher says, "Hi, my name is," fill in the blank, what's your name? What do you like to do for fun? What is your favorite animal? And then tell me more about it. So, did the student say their name correctly? Did the student state an activity? Did they state their favorite activity? Did they provide information in a complete sentence? So you'll say yes or no to these 4 questions. Okay, if they get 2 of them right, they take the screener. If the student can answer at least 2 of them right, then you're going to bypass the screener, and it means they're not proficient and they don't need to go any further. If the teacher believes that a student's non-response is due to fear, cease testing, evaluate at a different time. This is really important, and it doesn't pop up automatically on your screen. So sessions 1 and 2, we kind of talked about it already. So session 1 is just listening and reading. You can find the scripts on the KS assessment site or in the KELPA Screener manual. If a student does not answer enough questions correctly to move session 2, then they're finished, and the report will say they're not proficient. If they do answer enough questions correctly, they'll move on to session 2. Session 2 is very similar, but it also contains some writing, which is really just grammar items. Those scripts are found in the same place. If the student is not proficient after session 2, the administration is done, so it won't move on to session 3. Otherwise, if they do well enough, they answer enough questions, then they'll go on to session 3. Session 3, this is where you get the secure documents out of the help tab. So you'll get the scripts from the help tab as well as rubrics. They're found in the under help, under KELPA Screener test administration directions. Students in kindergarten and grade 1 will use writing booklets, which you have to print from the help tab, and they have to be securely stored and shredded at the end of the testing. Writing samples are not uploaded to the educator portal, so it's just something for the teacher there to score and then to shred. To ensure the recording is loud and clear for scoring, students must use a headset with a microphone. And we don't download the Kite software that comes from IT, so if it's not on a student's computer, you'll have to switch to, or a Chromebook, you'll have to switch to a different Chromebook, or you'll have to contact IT about getting it done. This is what the top bar looks like when they're taking a test. So this, like number 1, means they've answered it. Number 2 means they haven't answered it. Number 5 means they've answered it, or it's unanswered, but they flagged it. So students can put a flag on something if they want to go back to it. And the difference between 5 and 8 means 5 they didn't answer it, and 8 they did answer it, but they flagged it maybe to look at again. So this student would still need to do 2, 5, 6, and 9. There's no penalty for guessing, and we encourage students to answer all of them. Once they've answered all the questions, this screen pops up, and we'd like you to look at it, and then you be the one that clicks end. If you click end and the student hasn't answered enough questions, it'll say thank you for testing. If they have, then it'll move them on to the next session. At the click end, the message appears telling the student to continue the next session. So this means that they answered enough correctly. This means they did not answer enough correctly. This means there's a potential that they're proficient in English. This means they're not proficient and they qualify for our services. If you do run into trouble and you don't get it, first check the student portal test selection screen to see if the next session appears. Second, look at educator under reports menu, under manage test, and test coordination menu. Students sometimes omit and do not finish the session because of illness, time, or other constraints. If that happens and I think it's more than 24 hours, they'll have to be reactivated, and they have to be reactivated inside the educator portal. Last part here, who can score? Educators associated with student registration are assigned as scorers. Users with roles as district test coordinator or district user, building test coordinator, or building user may also score section 3. So if you're not an EL teacher and if you reach out to me, I'll be happy to score it. Oh, here we go. So it's the same for all of them. All of them have 5 speaking samples and 1 writing sample. Oh, sorry, 2 and 3 have 2 writing samples, but the rest just have 1 short writing sample. Specific guidance and rubrics for items scored age, grade level, and band are help tab of the educator portal. That's part of that KELPA training. It's the same rubric, so the people that have graded KELPAs in the past have been trained. These documents are secure, which means they can't leave your site, and they have to be locked up or shredded. So again, the screener rubrics and the summative rubrics are the same. Inside the KELPA screener, if you do score it, once you're inside, so you go to scoring, KELPA screener, the name pops up. This shows the questions that they've answered. So the students answered all of them. These 4 have been scored. These 3 still need to be scored. This is what it looks like. So here's the student's response, their writing response, and then you'll decide whether it's a 3, the highest score, or a 2, or a 1, or no evidence. After all the items are scored, you'll generate a report right here. Once you generate the reports, you click on the student. It'll create a PDF, and that's what you'll send to Ruth Darris, our data clerk, to have the student added if it says not proficient. This is what it looks like. So again, you're going to send that to Ruth Darris. And so this student overall proficiency not proficient, meaning she or he should be put into the EL program. Conclusion, you'll need 2 places for non-secured items. It's the KS assessment website. That's where you'll find these things. And then inside the Kite Educator portal, the secure things are, which include the rubrics, the directions for giving the test, which include the scripts, the writing booklet for kindergarten, the writing booklet for 1st grade, and then KELPA Screener training materials that are related to grade bands. That's what I have for you. Please let me know if you need ethics and security training, or if there's anything else I can do for you, score this session or those kinds of things. I'm happy to help. Thank you very much.